Hello, my name is Ellie Wagner, and this is my presentation on what my research paper is about. My research question was, how does captivity affect an animal's psyche? Um, so the reason I was interested in this question is because my career path is hopefully to end with animal rehabilitation and care. So I obviously want to know the best way to do that and how to not affect them in a negative way. So, I wanted to know, how do animals react to captivity? Is it different for ones from wild versus captive born? Do the benefits outweigh the consequences? And is it different for all species? Um, as an overview, I found that some species thrive in captivity. Snow leopards and ring-tailed lemurs are some of those. As you can see pictured here to the left. Um, There's some lemurs and they're all hanging out and playing together on some different things they have in the enclosure. Um, but some species do not thrive in captivity, and those are mostly large carnivores like lions, tigers, polar bears, and for another one it would be elephants. We hear about that a lot just because of the aftermath of the circuses and such. Um, Some of the negative consequences of captivity that I found were health problems. They could be different for different species, so that kind of answered the question that it affects different species as well as the previous slide. Um, but loss of appetite, body weight changes, depression and anxiety arose in some of them, and higher infant mortality even happened with some of them, which was unfortunate because a lot of the reason that we keep animals in captivity in this day and age is because we're trying to hire the population because of loss in habitat, climate change, and all that that's causing more and more uh, animal extinction. I couldn't think of that word at all for a second. Um, but yeah, anything causing that. So the fact that there is a higher infant mortality in some of those species really greatly affects that progress. Um, so, are there changes that we can make to uh, make the benefits outweigh the consequences with that? Better enclosures is one way. A lot of the reasons that animals get depressed or anxious and lose their appetite and such and get those health problems is because they just don't have the right enclosures. They're also just usually lonely. A lot of it comes from loneliness. Um, but with the large carnivores, they get stripped of their natural instincts of hunting and being a predator and having that prey and running and such. So that really affects them and their mind and not knowing how to act anymore, kind of being stripped of their identity. So, more social connections would also be a better way to change things, not only with their own species, but with other species as well. As you can see in this picture, it's a picture from the Baltimore Aquarium where they have lots of different species and different exhibits. So this one's from the coral reef exhibit, where you can see there's plenty of different kinds of fish in there. So it really mimics the ocean in a way. So that's super vital to having a sustaining life in captivity. Um, Rewilding programs is also a great way to revitalize the populations and uh, keep animals out of captivity. So that comes into play with rehabilitation and things. If there's an animal that could possibly go back out into the wild, let's make it happen, figure out a way to do that, and just make progress with that. So, my personal thoughts on future research would be better enclosures, like I said before, and why that's so important, and what animals can cohabit together, and which ones really would thrive well together and not cause more social anxiety per se for them. Also, which are the best approaches to rewilding and how to be able to do that without stripping them of their natural instincts while they're in captivity. That's really an important thing. So main goal is getting these guys back out in the wild and looking happy like that. Here are my references. One on the effects of wide-ranging carnivores. There's a book on the best types of enclosures, and this one was a pretty good one. It was kind of a debate on the pros and cons of zoos versus not zoos. So thank you anyways. Have a great night.